What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 90 of the Tastecaster weekly podcast where we talk about things, react to things, do a bunch of random shit. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
A quick reminder to play COD, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and The Witness, both offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back to the end of the month for Plus Club. Let us know what you thought of those games. We'll let you know what we thought of those games. Also, picked by me, our game of the month is Warframe. Warhammer. It's not Warframe. It should have been. 40K Inquisitor Martyr, which is an ARPG, not a third-person action shooter, where you get loot, increase your skill trees, do a bunch of random shit, kill things, play that, and come back to the month for Game of the Month. Let us know what you thought of that game as well. Also, quick reminder that we have a Discord link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. And we are on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you'd prefer to listen to us. And if you're listening to us, you want to check us out on YouTube, check us out at Tasty Loot Gaming. We film every single episode. I mean every single, almost 700 episodes. Yeah, so it's Tastecast. We haven't done this in a little bit, hence my flow. And yeah, we normally talk about what we've been playing. I know you've played a lot less than I have, although my list isn't even that big. I just have a lot to say. So we should probably start with you. Also, Chris is not here. As you noticed, the box is not there. Don't fucking see Chris. He'll be back soon, hopefully. Maybe I can do an episode with me and him while you're gone, because you're going to be gone.
Yep.
For a week. So you got some vacation shit to do.
Mostly a week.
Yeah. So hopefully you have fun. Hopefully you're safe. People are going to miss you. Jeremy's going to cry.
Oh, he'll be fine.
I don't think so. I don't think he will. Yeah. So, what have you been playing? Let's start with you. Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, mostly Final Fantasy 14. Though, even that, I have not been playing as much lately. We've been kind of getting home on the later side, and by the time I get done, like, winding down and watching videos and stuff, I'll hop in for like an hour or two, and I'm done. So, so not really any progress being made there other than like very small amounts of that's not even really worth talking about too much. So other than that, I played Dead or Alive 6 a little bit, very little bit, played a match, or I guess I played a few matches, but
I did one like run through an arcade.
Yeah. And it was mostly just like a to see where the series is, because it has been a couple iterations since I've played the game, and I am happy to say that it feels very familiar, which is great.
Just like riding a bike.
Yeah, I was able to pick up a character and mostly know how to use them. Obviously, balance changes happen in fighting games, so she doesn't have all the same moves, but they're pretty close.
Feels pretty fucking close. Yeah. You're talking about Ayane.
Yeah, Ayane.
Okay.
Yeah. She's pretty close. There's a couple of her moves that either they've changed or the timing is different or they're gone. That I was looking for a little bit, but for the most part, I still knew how to play her, which was great. I will say as well, they have tightened up the counter system, which is a good thing for game balance reasons. Though it threw me off a lot when I was trying to counter, because you really have to be on it. Yeah. There's no wind, like it used to, especially in like Dead or Alive 2 was a huge window, and then they just slowly over the years have kind of just brought that in. Which is good.
It's pretty much pinpoint accurate now. Like as soon as they punch, that's when you counter exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think is good, because when I was younger, I got abused by you and Rob a lot, because you guys would practice in that game. I was pretty decent too, but you guys would counter constantly. So I'm of the mindset that if you're going to counter a lot, you need to be. It needs to be a little tighter. You need to be a little more on your shit. So
it should be skill based.
So you got to earn that shit. Yeah. Which, not saying before it wasn't, but, you know, that window was bigger, so it's a lot easier to think about that. And I was young, so I was just like, I'm going to fucking punch him. I'm going to fucking punch them all. And then I just get thrown around. But yeah, so I think it's good. It does, a lot of times when I'm, like, getting fucking knocked around in DOA 6, because I also played it, because I bought it, I'll get punched a couple times, and on, like, the third punch, I'll fucking counter. I'll almost, like, break their combo, which is nice. So it still kind of works in that sense, too, because it's a lot easier to time when they're going to punch when they're already mid-fucking combo.
Right. Well, and I know it's obviously going to be different playing against, like, a real person, but I even remember
it is
like playing against, like, Rob in the past, and if I would play as Zach, he's got this, like, multi-kick at the ankle thing.
Yep.
and he got used to the timing. So as soon as I'd start it, he'd go boom and start countering it. And so I'd get to the point where I'd like throw a couple, put a delay in, do a couple more, type of thing. So the computer's not doing that. So
yeah, no, actually, I hate saying it, but the AI in the game does not seem to be consistent. I'll put it that way, because sometimes it just fucking destroys you, or sometimes it doesn't know what's happening. I was instantly, like the first day I bought it, able to jump to the second hardest difficulty and beat the hardest difficulty in the arcade mode as soon as I picked it up, pretty much.
Yeah.
I started on normal. I was like, that was really easy. And I moved it to hard. I'm like, that's still not that difficult. And I moved it up, and I'm like, okay, now they're starting to counter. That's weird. And then the next one, I'm like, there it is. That's the difficulty.
It's especially weird because Team Ninja's kind of known for making difficult
Hard games, yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so
Maybe it was them trying to
cater a little more.
Yeah, maybe. Although there's 2 or 3 difficulties under normal.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So, I mean, they really scaled that shit.
Yeah, I'd like to play it more. I love the game as a series, I should say. I did fall out after a while because specifically in 4, they changed the counter system in a way I didn't like, which was making mid counters forward and the counter button instead of back and forth. So you had to remember up and down were back and mid was forward. And I really hated it for some reason.
How did it work?
So you'd have to hit forward and counter on mid attacks in DOA 4.
Oh, yeah. I remember one of them, they fucked up countering. That was probably it. And that's the one I fell out of.
And that's when I stopped
Because I
playing,
did
yeah.
play 4. I did not touch 5.
Yeah, I
But
didn't play
4,
5 at all.
I was like, I'm not into this. So that was probably, that makes sense. Yeah, it's still in this one now, back, up, back, down, back to do all the different counters. So
yeah,
which makes sense. Like
they were trying to break the flow. I get it, and they were trying something new. It just didn't work for me.
Well, Soul Calibur 5 tried something new, and I don't even think it's bad for anyone to try something new. It could have been awesome, but it wasn't. So it's just, when they correct that problem, that's where I'm like, thank you.
Right.
When you double down, I'm like, okay, I guess this series is over for me.
Yeah. The only 2 more things I want to add to that real quick is one, it is a very good looking game. I have to give them props for that.
Especially the character models, but that's their bread and butter.
That is their bread and butter
them
for
fucking-
obvious reasons.
Like, you want some costumes for these very good looking character models?
But the what's that called? The elephant in the room. Aside on that, they are very well done. So they did a very good job on that.
Talking about the jiggle physics?
Just all the sexuality in general. Put that aside.
Male and female, don't be fucking stupid about this. Not anybody watching this.
The character models are all very well done. In fact, I remember seeing, and I've forgotten her name now, god damn it. But one of the character models, I remember seeing her, I was like, oh, I really like the way they changed her face model. It made her look more like the ethnicity she's from, actually.
Which one?
Tai Chi gal.
Oh, Li Fang, or what her name is?
She looks way better looking, I think, her character model than she did before. Because
Well, yeah, the graphics have definitely gone up, but yeah, her face is it's slightly different looking, but it still looks like her.
Yeah,
I think all the characters look like they used to, but some of them look slightly different. But also, it seems just like they put more natural, real properties to their face.
they look more refined as characters. Because a problem I've noticed in some fighting games as they keep going, eventually you get to the point where they pick like a face shape and just start plastering faces on that shape.
Well, Soul Calibur 4 and 5.
Wow, yeah. So, and it sucks.
Yeah, and some of the Street Fighters have seemed pretty generic in their faces after a while. You just kind of recognize them from their fucking clothes.
Right, and I really do appreciate when they try to make them look like a character. So they did really good there.
I'm just gonna hop into this because I've also played this. So, playing this reminded me of how much I love Dead or Alive, and how Dead or Alive used to be my second favorite fighting game, and then Tekken took its spot when I fell out Dead or Alive. So it is really cool to come back to this and kind of see what they have updated like that, like characters or whatever. But it's interesting because you look at the character models, and my first thought is like, this is where they put all their work into this game. Like, they really put a lot of work into the way the characters look and the costumes and stuff like that. But then I'm playing and I'm like, this is like not even just a competent fighting game. It's a really good fighting game. I forgot how good Dead or Alive is as a fighting game, and it has its own niche because it's all about the fucking counters, the grapples. I mean, there's people who will literally grab you. The MMA girl will throw you on the ground and you can start kicking them while they're on the ground and shit, while the other people don't do those moves and stuff. And so Dead or Alive, like Tekken, has like this very close quarters intimacy in its fighting. You're not jumping up into the back corner, shooting fucking balls at people and dodging moves and doing insane combos, even though you can do pretty crazy combos. And it's just neat playing this and remembering why I love the series, because not only does the game look great, the characters look great. For whatever reason, you're into them looking great. Because I know some people keep talking about certain aspects of that, and who gives a fuck? It's a product. It's a video game. It's not real people. Buy it, don't buy it, shut the fuck up. Sorry. It's a really good fighter though. I'd like to see more levels or stages, thank you.
Yeah.
Because there's like, I don't know, it seems like 8 or 10 of them, but they're all really good. And a Dead or Alive stage has a lot to
layers,
it.
yeah.
Because there's things to break, there's interactive things that happen. You can knock people through walls and shit. So it's just been really cool coming back to the series, because I pretty much had wrote it off for dead. I remember playing 4 and I was like, I'm not into this anymore. And then I saw 5. I'm like, I'm not playing a free to play Dead or Alive. So I was pretty much done with it. And then this came out and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go, because even with all the reviews that we're talking shit about certain aspects, they're still saying this is a really good fighting game. I'm like, okay, well, that's all I need. And playing it is. I hate saying this. I've played Dead or Alive 6 more than I've played Soul Calibur 6.
That's weird.
It is weird, because Soul Calibur is my favorite fighting game series, and it came out. I skipped it to play all the other games coming out, because I was like, I can come back to a fighting game anytime. Those are like timeless games. You always come back and play them. And I was playing Red Dead and all shit. And then we came back to it last month for, what was that? Was it Game of the Month? Was that last month or the month before? One of the months recently, yeah. And I played it a little bit because I had to, and I enjoyed it. And then Dead or Alive 6 comes out, and I popped it in right when I brought it home, and I fucking played it, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this game. And I'm just like playing it like I used to play back in the day, Dead or Alive 2 and 3 and shit. And I've been having a blast so far. I really like it. I like all the characters I've played so far. They've had a lot of new ones. There's a lot of characters from the last game that I don't even fucking remember. Well, I don't know why I would remember them. I wasn't there for that.
Didn't experience them.
I don't know who they are.
Right.
And yeah, it's one of my favorite things about the Dead or Alive series is how impactful hits feel. When you punch someone or you finish a combo and then give them like a really hard hit and they go flying across
this
the map.
This was my second point, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No,
that I
okay.
cut that off. It just gives you it's good feedback when you're in a fight, because you want to beat the person, you want to get that health bar down, and seeing it go and then they fly across the map and they hit something and then it ticks down even further, that just kind of makes every fight feel really hectic and really, really intense. A lot of fighting games, you're hitting the person and it still feels great, but Dead or Alive has always had a really good sense of striking people.
The big example I wanted to bring into that actually was, as much as I like Soul Calibur, it is definitely more about like the flashy effects and stuff like that, but the impacts never feel super hard unless it's a heavy hit for some reason. But all the light hits are more lights and flashes and
sure,
like
especially like as soon as you even start talking about that, I instantly thought of Raphael when he's going like whoosh, 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 and it's just going and your health's just going down and your guy's just going
right.
And like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, that doesn't feel impactful. It feels good in the sense that you're executing a move and you hit them,
right,
and that they didn't evade it or block it. I've always said Soul Calibur is about the weapons. It's about footing and placement and where you're at. The reason I even think about that ever when I think about fighting games is, when I'm always playing Keelik and Josh is always playing Astaroth and we're having one of our fucking endless battles, kind of like when you were saying you and Rob used to play and he started learning your moves. Me and Josh know each other's moves, so like the whole time we're sitting there just like fucking watching what each other are doing. But it's always in a fight like that, when you're fighting against somebody who actually knows what they're doing in those games, it's less like just running in and hitting the person. It's more like fucking waiting till they get in a certain range to hit them and shit. And it has more of an emphasis on the weapons, whereas like DOA, it's all about kicking, punching, and a lot of grappling. Yeah. And so everything, even when you roll on the ground and grab them and then pull their arm back, it like there's that pause and that like that impact.
Oh yeah.
So you feel like you're always, every time you hit someone, you feel like you are ticking their health box down. So
yeah, you get a good visual representation of
something
of
happened.
the damage.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
And even the environmental stuff, though sometimes it can be flashy, it's in an instant, and it's not just taking over the screen, which I really appreciate, because I like the flashy, but it can be overwhelming when you're playing something where you have to pay attention to like hitboxes and stuff like that. So
yeah, there is an interesting reprieve though. When you're fighting on a pirate ship and you fucking punch someone into a wall, and as soon as they rock the boat, a fucking tentacle comes out of the water, grabs them, lifts them into the air, and like when that happens, I'm like, okay. And I'm just like watching the cinematic as it like throws them through the floor of the ship and into the bottom of the ship, and you fight them. So those kind of things are kind of, even though they're really neat looking and they do damage, so it's all beneficial. It's also nice because it gives you a second to go, okay, let's get ready to fucking fight again. Which is always, it's a very DOA thing.
Yeah. To
like punch someone through a wall and then they fly off into a bottom area, like down a couple flights of fucking stairs or some shit.
the only other one I can really think of that utilizes that I think is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
because
they have environmental stuff, yeah,
and I think multi-stage as well.
I don't remember that, but I didn't play X as much as I really should have.
Well, and I don't know if I'm quoting necessarily X. I just remember Mortal Kombat in general has done that.
You can punch people down fucking on spikes and shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, even just switching the stage up. I could be mixing that up with Injustice, though. I don't know. Regardless, it's not a very common thing, and I do think of DOA.
There's a bunch of fighting games back in the Xbox era that tried doing that. But there's so many experimental weird Xbox.
There was a lot of weird fighting games on the Xbox. Yeah,
it's like Def Jam Vendetta, where the fuck it was, and like a backyard fucking.
There's an X-Men one I can't remember the name of.
Beat your ass game. Yeah. One other thing I want to add with Dead or Alive 6, outside of everything that I'm really loving about the game, is the season pass is $100, which is insane. And you get like 60-something costumes with that, 2 characters when they release, and a couple other things. That's ridiculous. I'm thinking about buying it because I'm really enjoying the game. That's steep as fuck, though. That's stupid. Yeah. And when I read it, it said from like March to June is the first season.
So it's like a season of the year, not like a gaming season.
$100?
That's a lot.
But that's a lot of costumes too. That's not a couple.
I know, that's still a lot of money though. That's a hard sell.
It is a lot of money. Well, if you bought like characters in a fighting game, that would be like fucking, I don't know, $15.
What fighting
for 2?
Game? Oh, for 2, yeah. I thought you meant each. I was like, no.
Oh, probably an EA game. I don't know.
Wow. Good thing they don't
make fighting games. They don't make anything except for games as a service, online only. Single player's dead, 100%. It's definitely dead. It's been dead for a long time. Rest in peace. I only like games that are $60 that want me to buy things. Get the fuck out of here, fly. Want me to buy things after the fact that I bought the game already. And then want me to keep doing the same shit over and over and over again for 6 months. Oh yeah, also I don't know if this is in 5. Let me know in the comments if you played DOA 5, but they have a system in this one where you hit R1 to sidestep up and down and be able to do special moves. And when you sidestep, you can actually punch someone from the side too, which is really neat. And at first I'm like, I don't know if this is overcomplicating the fighting, but as I was playing, I was like, I forgot how much DOA is all about that close quarters martial arts fighting, and it adds to that because most of those types of games have sidestepping, and a lot of people don't really utilize it a whole lot. But in this, they have a button to do it and a way to strike from that position, so it really kind of adds a whole new dimension to that aspect of being right in someone's face and fucking moving around and shit.
It's like an evolution of the counter.
Yeah. It feels like an option to the counter because you can counter something, but also if someone's running at you and they jump, you can sidestep and step them and hit them, and it's really fucking cool. So yeah, I also really love like fast paced dodging action. I think that's why DOA resonates with me so much.
Probably, yeah,
because it's all about like moving and fucking hitting and shit, and that's my jam. I love that,
and it definitely is. On the pace scale, on the faster side.
Even the slower characters are pretty fast, and the fast characters are insanely fast.
So watch. I forgot his name. Big old wrestler dude. His grapple combos are super fast. Still, yeah.
He'll grab and go.
And that's just next part, next part, next part.
Well, Tina's kind of like a mid character, but she's like jumping around the air and like catching you in the air and slamming you on the ground and stuff. So,
Yep.
Bayman, he just fucking grabs you and rolls around with you until you die.
Yeah, he annoys the shit out of me.
And like I said, I tried out the MMA girl. She's been around for a little bit, I think, but she's got a couple moves where you can like grapple them on the ground, and one of them when you're on top of them, you can punch them in the head, and then another one when you're on the side, you can kick them in the side and shit. So it's pretty cool. She feels like an MMA fighter. Anyway, I could probably talk about this game for a while. So
Yeah.
anything else you want to add to Dare Life 6?
No, I just wanted to make sure that I brought up, even in my short period of time, my impressions on it, because there might
Pretty good, 'cause I barely played it.
yeah, and there might be people out there. Well, but I have a history with this game, so it's a lot easier for me to talk about this than if you were,
To put the check marks. Yep, they got this.
if you sat me down in front of Tekken. I've played Tekken, but I'm not like, I don't have like a connection with Tekken. I enjoy it, but like I don't know the systems or anything like that. So I play Tekken as a newbie, like 100%.
Yeah,
So
I love Tekken.
and I think it's a great game, but that took me a long time
the only fighting game I play like this.
I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, because you don't. There's so many buttons to do combos with that you don't have enough fingers. Your thumb's not enough.
Yeah.
I've played with my thumb and I do just fine, but like if you play like this, you utilize the combo so much better because you roll into your punches and kicks all at the same time and shit. That game is like fucking water. It just flows, dude.
I've told this story before, but like I remember when arcades were a thing. I'm aging myself now.
Yeah, those are relics of the past.
The Tekken fighting machines had PlayStation controller ports, and you could bring your controller and plug it in. And I remember watching one guy in his left hand had the controller, and his right hand was on the buttons on the machine, and that's how he was fighting people.
Dork.
So, well,
Was he winning?
yeah.
Okay.
Best of both worlds, though. The movement, I think personally, is better on a controller. A lot of people would disagree with me
Dude,
on
some
that.
people love the little fucking stick.
The joystick, I can't. People love it. I don't. And
I
then
hate 'em.
The,
I hate 'em.
The giant buttons that you can like just roll your hands around on, do your combos.
If you're from a time though, where you grew up with arcade sticks and you got used to the roll feeling of that, that's completely different than this
it's
feeling.
100% different.
So if you're used to that, you would prefer that. I don't think it's really what's better. I would argue an analog is better because it's a newer technology and it just feels smoother and better. But again, that's what I prefer. But yeah, if you were using one of those when you were a kid and you got used to playing like that, like getting that muscle memory of your arm and stuff, there's no way you'd want to use the fucking controller playing that. You'd feel like you're being hindered. So
Well, it's like all the people who play Smash who just like insist on using the GameCube controller, because that's where a lot of them got into Smash.
yeah, I always kind of view that as people who never converted from inverted, Josh and other people from the region he grew up. Because they all, for some reason, are still inverted. Everyone else I know made the move over because it was commonplace on the 64. Everything was inverted.
Right.
After that, people are like, let's start pushing up to look up. Makes sense, but the other one doesn't not make sense. He's going to be sitting and listening to this guy like, God fucking damn it. But it's kind of like that. Like, wait, what we're talking about? I'm just talking about
Joysticks.
Joysticks, thank you. It's just kind of like that whole fuck. I've lost the complete. I'm just still thinking about inverted controllers now.
You're talking about muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Okay, thank you,
controller,
thank you.
yeah.
GameCube. Thank you. That's what it was. Okay, so I was like, God, what the fuck's up with inverted controllers, or controls? Anyway, yeah. So GameCube controllers for a long time, I thought it was kind of like that. I thought it was like that, like oh, they just used to that controller the way it feels. But the GameCube controller was a fucking Frankenstein controller. I actually. Hot take, I don't like the GameCube controller at fucking all. If you like it, though, that's awesome. Especially if you're beat people's ass in Smash. Fucking, who gives a fuck what I think? That controller was so different and individual, though, that I could see why somebody would get used to the clicks of that fucking joystick and the button placement. Because it was weird. It was not standard. There's a fat button and two weird little fucking little dick buttons.
And then a nubbin.
And then a little nubbin, yeah. The little dick buttons, the nubbin, and the big nubbin. And then you didn't have triggers. You had fucking
Plungers.
The fucking one, and then these little things. And like, if you're used to, I just described the thing perfectly. If you were pressing all those buttons and that's how you got used to fighting, there's not a controller that feels like that. So if you play the game a shitload, I get it.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense.
100%.
It's like back when I was really all about like the 360 controller. Like this is the FPS controller. There's not a controller that plays FPS is better. I still kind of think that. I think the PS4 controller is really fucking good though. And the Xbox One controllers, this is where the dislikes come, is pretty good. I like everything about it except for the fucking analogs. I hate them.
I'll say it's a quality feeling piece of hardware. They're just the
100%.
joysticks are super loose. That's literally the only complaint.
Yeah, if they were tightened up, perfect. I would love that fucking thing. It's crazy. Just sell a separate one. If people like those loose sticks, just sell me a stiff stick one. That's it. Just make the exact same fucking controller.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. What are we talking about?
I think we were trying to move on to what you were playing.
Okay, so play DOA 6. I love DOA 6. It's good again. I'm thinking about buying that stupid ass fucking season pass. but I recommend picking up DOA 6. I don't recommend picking up that season pass unless you have the throwaway income to do so, because that's ridiculous.
And you're gonna play the game a lot.
And you're gonna play the game, yeah, because that's a lot of money to drop on fucking costumes for your perverted ass.
You're literally investing in the continuation of that series at that point.
Yeah, you're going, I'm a fan. I want more DOA. And they're like, give me money.
Same reason I bought the Fat Cat in Final Fantasy 14. That's a completely optional item.
I don't even play that game. I bought fucking 2 mounts, and I'm going to buy that one. I saw that Fat Cat's amazing.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. Play Final Fantasy 14 just to get that Fat Cat. Okay. Been playing Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr. Still really liking the game. Played some same screen co-op with Josh. Worked really well. It sucks that the same screen co-op, you can't play your own character. You have to play a pre-made character that's the same level as your character, but that's same screen co-op. When you play the normal co-op, you can play with other people and their characters. Good. So, but it plays really well. It was really fun. Josh is falling asleep though, because
as he does
every time he comes and hangs out, he lays down, he starts playing a game, and then he falls asleep. We're in the middle of levels, and I would see his characters running to a wall and then like run around the wall, or he'd run to a corner and then he'd run around the corner and look back, and he's just like, and I'd say something about him fall asleep. He's like, I'm not asleep. I'm like, hey, okay. but yeah, the game's cool. It's cool to get those synergies of different builds killing enemies. Yeah, can't wait to play it more. And if I sound like I'm really stoked, I'm revealing what my grade will be kind of at the end of this month. I picked this game as game of the month, so I probably like it.
I feel like you should probably expect that for game of the month, because it's games that we've picked anyways.
Yeah, it'd be very weird if we hadn't played the game yet and we're so bold to pick our 1 month of the year where we're like, we're gonna play Left Alive.
Now, it did happen once, obviously, with Dungeon Defenders 2. Because that was more of we wanted to play it because we loved the first one so much.
That's true.
It turned out it was disappointing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's stuff we just were like, we played, we're like, oh, this is cool. Oh, another game. Oh, another game. Oh, shit, I need to go back and play that. So,
by the way, that Left Alive game is getting like 3s.
That sucks.
Yeah. That was a game I kept watching just because I love Front Mission and I like third-person stealth games, and I love the art style because it's the same guy who did the MGS design. But
if Wargroove can succeed, Square, make a proper Front Mission.
Yes, make a proper Front Mission. Stop being fucking assholes. All your other games are great though lately. So never mind. I'll take that back. Anyway, Left Alive though, real quick. I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but I was looking it up because I was curious about picking it up, and it apparently had released, and I didn't even know. And I was watching a video on it. That game is janky as fuck. It looks like their old school like Dirge of Cerberus days where they're making like half-ass games.
I mean, it obviously was. So.
But it's weird because it's literally trying to steal Metal Gear Solid as a game. It's not Metal Gear Solid, obviously, but the guy's like sneaking around with a gun. And the music's like really like dun, 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 just like fucking like really like espionage-esque, and all the sound effects are like ding 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 ding. I was like, what the fuck?
Shameless.
And yeah, it was crazy. And they got the guy who did the fucking character design for Metal Gear Solid to do the character design for this game. I was like, what? They go, Konami fucked up. Let's steal that.
I don't blame them.
If they would have done it successfully, like hell yeah, I don't give a shit. Like it's a Metal Gear Solid ripoff. I'm like, the old Metal Gear Solids still exist, and they're great. Konami fucked it. If somebody wants to rip that off and make a good game out of it, more power to them. They didn't do it, though.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Inquisitor Martyr. That's what we started with, right? That's what I was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, that game's cool. Play it.
We'll have more to say at the end of the month.
We'll talk about it more, yeah. Picked up Devil May Cry 5. And quick transparency, I've never been a big fan of Devil May Cry. I always appreciated it, but it's always been a little too ridiculous, too campy. I get it's supposed to be. But also, like, the kind of, like, stage-by-stage combo fighting, you know, was never, like, amazing to me. I just was like, yeah, it's cool. And then I kind of moved on with my life. But this one intrigued me because, first off, it looks amazing. It's on the RE engine, which I fucking called. I was, like, looking at trailers. I'm like, why does it look this good? I've only seen one other, like, Japanese-made engine that looks this good, and that was the RE engine with Resident Evil 7, which looks amazing, and Resident Evil 2 Remake, which looks amazing. Sure as fuck, it's on the RE engine, so, like, the faces look insane. Even Jeremy in the Discord was like, the faces look really good. I'm like, I know, it's crazy. So yeah, looking at the game, I was just intrigued because I was like, that's a beautiful looking game.
Oh, yeah.
Really flashy too. And then watching some of the trailers as we've done on the channel, it seemed really, you know, like just polished and clean in every way. Picked it up, played it. It's actually really neat. The cutscenes are done really well. The voice acting, I think it's the same actors too, is fine. It doesn't sound cheesy anymore. Like, you know, back on PS2, I'm sure there were younger voice actors. The standards were different back then.
Yeah,
so
less
like,
experience under the belt.
Yeah, and you know, whoever's directing probably wasn't like, all right, let's do that again. That didn't sound good enough. Because video games back then, they didn't care.
They didn't have the budget either.
But now they're saying ridiculous shit. Yeah, they're saying ridiculous shit, but they're saying it in a way that sounds like a fucking human being. It's not less like, whoa, cowabunga, bro. It's like, you know, it sounds like people. It's also got some really dark imagery. There's a part right in the beginning that I was just like, this is fucking creepy. But it's cool. The combat is flashy as fuck. The game's flashy as fuck. The whole game's just like, look how cool we are.
Yeah.
I'm playing it. The music's just like, and he's fucking flipping people around and shooting them and shit. And the guy's just constantly just confident, like, yeah, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this game's just like, just a pair of sunglasses with some music playing.
It's Johnny Cage the game.
Dude, pretty much. I'm just playing it. I'm like, this is the whole time. I'm just like, this is cool. This is cool. The whole thing's just cool. I feel this is just a cool environment I'm experiencing right now. So yeah, I'm actually stoked to keep playing that, which is weird. We're living in a weird time where series I used to not like, I'm liking now because games have come so far and things have been learned that like people are able to maintain, if they do it well, maintain what made something special while also opening it up to other people and also maturing stories. Storytelling as a whole in gaming has gotten better.
Oh, yeah.
People, it has existed and been great. I mean, PlayStation was an amazing era for storytelling. And fucking Super Nintendo had great storytelling, blah, blah, blah. But now it's just become such like an expected standard in gaming that even a game like Devil May Cry does a good job in getting me into it, which is really, really cool.
Right.
God of War, you know, is an exceptional art game of the year last year game, and that was a series we weren't into. So it's a really cool time to you know, we can complain all day about the games we don't like. It's also an amazing time for the games that we do like and the games that we probably shouldn't have liked, but we're loving now. For sure. There's some really amazing stuff going on in gaming now. So I recommend pick up Devil May Cry, especially if you already like the series, but you already have it, I'm sure. Last thing I want to talk about real quick is I finally pulled the trigger, devil trigger, and fucking got a Switch. So that was expensive because I was like, if I'm picking up a Switch, I need a fucking controller. And I was I need a pro controller because I need, like, the little controller's nice, it's fine, but I was like, I need a fucking controller
And a memory card.
and a memory card. I was like, I need a game.
Yeah. And then you bought a case recently.
I bought a case too, and there's all sorts of shit I want to get it for now. But because I love it. I've played your Switch. I've seen games for it. Blah, blah, blah. I've been talking it up for a while. Now owning it. The thing is fucking awesome. I love this console. It's my second favorite console of this generation. Easy. I mean, if you give it time, it might be my first. I don't know, because it's up there with the PlayStation for me. It's got a bunch of exclusives, and it's so smart in the way that you can just take it anywhere. You can play wherever the fuck you are, and also just take it home seamlessly and play it right on your screen. Yep. I mean, I needed that. I'm not a big mobile gamer, but I like the idea of taking games with me. I like to sit down and play games. It does both. It's genius. The graphics are good enough to always pretty much look decent. And I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I fucking love. I think it's fantastic. I've heard good things about it. I saw ratings of like 8.2. I'm playing. I'm like, that's not high enough. This game is not an 8.2. I was like, why are more people not talking about this fucking game? It's great. It's got a really interesting combat system that at first I was like, it's automated. Like your guy just kind of attacks, and then you get more people and they kind of attack. But then after a while, you start unlocking things, and you have to time the attacks with your moves, and eventually you're hitting a lot of buttons. You're almost like watching all your characters do stuff and executing moves and stuff, and it becomes really active. And as I'm learning with a lot of JRPGs, they just keep rolling out features. At first you play and you're like, this is very simple. And then you keep going further and you're like, there's a lot of shit to this game. This is why they're slowly rolling it out, because they can't just at the very beginning. And there's some games that do this, and I hate it when they're like, this is all the features. And you're like, whoa.
Where do I start?
I'm not going to remember this. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of these games kind of slowly roll it out like, oh, you just got to the new town. In this town, this happens. And then you talk to someone like, once you talk to this person, this stuff starts happening. You can do this kind of stuff. I'm like, okay. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, the music is really good. It takes me back to PlayStation era, and that's a real big compliment because I have such nostalgia for like PlayStation era music and games. The character design's interesting. The world's really cool. It's like this world that's being that's sinking under a sea of clouds. There's water underneath it, but there's clouds. But the clouds in the game will go up and down, kind of like the ocean, and it'll reveal certain parts of the map, and then certain parts of the map will go away.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can swim at the top level of it, but essentially it's eventually gonna overtake the world.
Gotcha.
So they're trying to find somewhere to live. It's kind of dire. It's kind of dark.
A lot of Japanese games are, even though they don't look like it.
It's just it's a really colorful game too. It's really neat looking. The characters are cool. I really like the main character because he's not overly confident, but like he's not a pushover either. Anytime someone challenges him, he's like, I'm not taking your shit. And he like does something. It reminds me of like Guts in a sense. Like, that's one thing I love about Guts and Berserk is he's not your quintessential like anime. Like some guy's like, my name's blah blah blah. And he's like, who are you? Like Guts just goes. He's like, I don't give a shit, and starts swinging at the dude. Same thing in this. Like someone would be like, get the fuck out of the way. He's like, I'm not getting out of your way. What are you talking about? And then you end up fighting. So I kind of like that. It's kind of rare. A lot of games, there's always more of a timid aspect to a character, so it's refreshing. You have blades, which are almost like Pokemon. You find these cores, and they turn into a random blade with a random weapon. You take on the weapons. Your blade is your moves, and you can build a relationship with them. And there's so much more to this, and we're kind of on a because you got to catch a fucking flight.
I got a plane.
I don't want to go into it too much. Maybe I'll do a tasty bit on it, but I love this game. I highly recommend it, and I will be so bold as to say that I think buying the Switch at its price was worth it for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 alone. So it's that good in my opinion. So far, I hope it doesn't have a horrible ending. I'm like, I hate this game,
right?
Because then I'm just gonna be eating my fucking words. Yeah, it's really good, and I don't regret buying the Switch. So I'm glad I picked that game because I was like, "What game?" And I was like, I heard good things about this one." And I played it. And it's really good.
Side note: when it comes to the Switch, JRPGs, and PlayStation nostalgia, Octopath Traveler is getting a sequel.
I saw that. I didn't say it's coming to something else.
It might be a prequel. They're making 2 games. They're making one for mobile that'll be out later this year in Japan, and then they apologized as they usually do when they don't have something to give you immediately. But
Nintendo does all the time.
Yeah, well, and so does like Square when they do any other things. They're like, please look forward to it. Like,
we got a great new exciting game. We're sorry to say that it's not releasing yet, but we got many exciting things coming soon. So don't you worry. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, they did confirm they are working on a sequel though. I don't know if it's a sequel or it's a prequel, but it's obviously connected.
That's in my like top 5 games I want to pick up for the Switch. Every
really
time
cool.
I go into the store, I always look at it, but I'm like, I'm literally playing a JRPG right now,
which is rough.
So I don't want to even have it in my inventory. Essentially,
yeah.
I went and bought the there is a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 expansion called Torna something something something, and it's a prequel to the game I'm playing. I went ahead and bought that. I think it was like $40, not even full priced. Apparently it's really big though. There's a lot of stuff to do in it. But I went and bought that just because I'm already playing this, and I know once I beat it, I'm probably gonna want to play that. So those are my 2 Switch games. Xenoblade Chronicles. So But yeah, so far that's been worth the price. And Octopath Traveler is a game I want to pick up. Every time I watched you play it, and it's really cool looking, and the music's really fucking cool. So it's weird, man. Why the fuck? Nintendo, man, it's their renaissance. Like, they're doing such cool shit right now. It's awesome. It's so weird for me. Because I pretty much, with them, I was like, Nintendo's, they make fun stuff. That's about it. Anything else?
No.
All right. Let us know in the comments, what games have you been playing recently? What games what would you recommend to us? What should we play? What games are you not planning on playing? You're like, I'm not fucking touching that shit. Are you picking up Division that's coming out soon? Are you playing Devil May Cry 5? Do you plan on playing that? And what about Dead or Alive 6? What's your opinion on jiggle physics? One thing I wanted to add real quick.
That's the thing you wanted to ask them?
Why not? We're not fucking games journalism. There's jiggle physics in the fucking game, and I don't give a shit about it.
No, I
don't give a
out of every question you could have, though.
I don't give a single fucking shit that there's jiggle physics in that game.
I don't either. But
One thing, though, that I want to add that's amazing is this is fucking crazy. There's different jiggle physics. I've never seen that in a game. Hanukkah, she has like this watery movement, which is really interesting. And someone else had a more like stiff, like bounce to it when they moved. They put work into that.
Well, I mean, they put a lot of work into the character models in general, so that just is another step.
I wasn't even sitting there going like, I was just like, they're moving different. What the fuck? They put work into that? It's impressive. I'm a tech guy. I love shit like that. So I was just like, that's interesting. I'm sure that the hardcore Dead or Alive fans are just like, they're different. They're different characters. Look at them.
They're different characters.
It adds character to them. Moving on from jiggle physics.
Where's this going?
I don't give a fuck. We have 4 videos to watch.
Yes.
That I do not have on screen. It's jizzle physics. We're going to be watching One Piece World Seeker opening cutscene. You're okay with watching that, right? You've already seen it.
I already watched it.
I haven't. We're going to be watching Cyberpunk 2077.
Have not seen.
I'm sure people clicking this video are here for that. Creating Cyberpunk, official PlayStation Inside look. Warframe, Hyldrin trailer, which we're going to familiarize ourselves with the new Warframe character. Probably another reason people are clicking this video. And then a pleasant surprise for me, as Inquisitor Martyr is our game of the month, there is a Warhammer Chaosbane game coming out, which is another ARPG in the Warhammer universe, but this one takes place in their more medieval fantasy world. So maybe a little Diablo-esque.
Have not seen.
Have not seen. So let's jump into the One Piece World Seeker opening cutscene. I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure we're both picking this up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It looks really cool. And we've watched some stuff on it already, and pretty stoked. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and go. I don't know how loud this is. Ooh, loud.
The guy who doesn't sleep.
Yeah, us too.
最近世間を賑わせている最悪の世代の一人らしいぞ。奴があの麦わら。
What's the D stand for?
God. Way to put me on the spot. There are people in the world with the initial D in their name, and it usually stands for a person with power. I couldn't tell you huge details on it because there's 800 episodes and I can't remember every little detail of the fucking show.
What the fuck? I hate him.
Chopper? He's amazing.
One time I saw him was during I like him like that.
He can change the shape.
Yeah, there's one where he's crying all the time and it was really annoying.
Oh, wow. He's kind of childlike, so.
It does seem really dramatic, though. Damn.
Used to that face, too. Just doesn't give a fuck where he is.
Yeah, it seems like he's not giving a shit.
He never does about anything. unless he threatens his crew, then he gets pissed.
I love the art style of One Piece.
Yeah. It's very unique.
Yeah, there's nothing that looks like it.
And it makes sense when you watch the show when weird shit's happening, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense in this world.
It just allows itself to do whatever the hell it wants. Because just by looking at it, you can tell it doesn't take itself too serious, but allows itself to be serious.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that guy's eyebrows are fucking squiggles.
His whole family looks like that.
Whoa.
You haven't met her yet.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was.
One of the characters, her
It's cool to see us in 3D.
ability is to create her limbs out of anything.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that threw me off. I was like, he can just do that? This is cool. This is gonna suck for me to play. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Yeah, you're not catching up now.
Yeah.
There are 3 movies, though, that will cover, I think, like 300 episodes of the anime or some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah. You're not going to get all the details. But
Sure.
you'll
Just
get
like the
gist,
Berserk
yeah.
movies. Except for way less episodes.
God, I love how it looks like the anime.
It
but
does,
in 3D.
yeah. That's what I'm saying when I was watching this. I'm just like, dude, this is 3D, but it looks like I'm watching an anime. That's what I say to everybody. Speed. Chisel. I don't give a fuck. He's got Google Glass.
I so love the music in One Piece.
Oh, I'll say, yeah. One Piece. I've only seen 17 episodes of the shit, but I'm familiar with the series since it's been out. And I just always loved the art style and the music. It has like a fucking adventure orchestral
The whole thing's an adventure.
theme though, which is
Yeah.
crazy because like it's an anime, so it's not just like some J-pop or J-rock band playing.
Not just in the intros.
Yeah, well, that's typical. I appreciate any kind of like production though. Okay. Ooh.
Even the mouth movements are great.
Yeah. That's one thing in DMC5 is driving me nuts though.
Oh yeah.
They're fine, but every once in a while, like I've literally watched them stop moving their lips and they're still talking. I'm like, oh man. Sky Prison's smart. And everybody can fill up. The hell's that?
I don't know, but I noticed it the first time I watched it. I was like, that dude is fucking stoked.
I didn't even see him until you pointed him out. I was like, what the fuck? That was like ghost footage. So, impressions. I'm already stoked for the game. I watched that, and the whole time I just loved it. The whole thing. I don't know if the game's going to be fun or not, but just watching that alone, and I don't even watch the anime. That was fucking really cool to watch.
Everyone should.
And then it was like March 15th. I'm like, that's why we're watching that. I forgot. It's coming out like next week.
Saturday.
Yeah. So I'll get to play that soon. So very exciting. And that trailer, well, it wasn't a trailer, it was the fucking opening cutscene, did what they intended to do by uploading it and got me excited for it.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to buy it.
The biggest thing that did for me is confirm that the game looks good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
and I
really cool.
really appreciate that. Anime games have a bit of a history of being kind of underdeveloped.
Empty experiences.
So hopefully there is lots to do in the game. I know the little bit we've seen, the combat looks fun, and reading on it, you know, it has like exploration and side quests and stuff like that. So I'm hoping it's a full experience because they've definitely got the look down a lot of these. But I know, like with good example, Jump Force got okay reviews. So
The thing is though, is anytime I look at an anime game, if you look at even the animations of the game, you can tell how much production went into it. If they move stiff, or the combat looks stiff, or there's less like features to the game, you can tell it wasn't made for very, you know, they didn't put a lot of work into it as much as, you know, and not necessarily because they don't care, they're lazy. They could have been working on other things too. That could have been less of a priority.
whoever was paying for it gave them a time limit.
When I first saw gameplay of this, it looked awesome. That's why I was instantly intrigued by it, is because the movements look good, the world looked really good, the animation looked good, and how well they translated that 2D anime look to 3D looked awesome. And it's only been backing that. And I'm not saying this game was going to be like a fucking 10 out of 10, but it looks like it could easily be a 7.
Well, and on the Japanese side of things too, One Piece is like the manga.
Yeah.
So like the
So it
budget
makes
was
sense.
probably there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dragon Ball Z is fucking one of the most famous things on the planet.
It is.
And so when you see a less than excellent made Dragon Ball Z game,
So Fighters was dope.
I see, sure. But there's other Dragon Ball Z games that have been like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
okay. But we've also had to like work towards making great Dragon Ball Z games. Because I remember when I was a fucking kid, they almost didn't exist here in the West. And it was hard to find them. You had
And
to
they had really
download
good fighting
emulators and
games
shit.
on PlayStation.
Yeah,
and stuff,
exactly.
so.
Yeah, those were legendary back in the day. Those were like legends, and fucking you get the emulator for it and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm playing this fabled game. Now they're everywhere, and some of them suck, some of them are good. So, yeah, I hope they do give this like the Dragon Quest pedigree of like, this is an important thing. We got to really do this right.
Right.
Because Dragon Quest, when I played that, I was like, now I get why people love this series. Like, they really put love and care into this. You know, One Piece is fucking huge. I hope they at least put a decent amount of like care into making this, and it seems like they have. I'm really excited to pick this up.
Me too. I watch this every week. So
Yeah, there's gonna be more One Piece for you. So, and not even in like a little fighting game way. Like, it's a full game.
Yeah.
So, which is really exciting.
I'll say I watch a ton of anime, and I don't run out and buy every anime game. And that's there's a separation there for sure. There's good games, and there's bad games. And regardless if I love the property, that does sway me a little bit.
Brand matters. Yeah, 100%.
But like Jump Force, I don't own because I wasn't hearing amazing things.
You were pumped on it too.
I
You
was.
kept talking about picking it up. I'm actually, every time we're in the store and like I'm like, hey, there's Jump Force. And you're like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I mean, that's fair.
And I don't even mean that in the regard of like reviewers. People aren't really talking about it. You know, that's not a great thing.
Berserk's one of my favorite things on the fucking planet. I own the Berserk game. I've played the first 2 levels of it.
Yeah. So
Not anything against Berserk. I love it. But the game itself is like, it's okay.
yeah.
It's a Dynasty Warriors game, so.
But I will gamble on this one for sure. I want this game.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm done. Like, I'm already going to buy it, so. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about One Piece World Seeker? What do you think about this opening cutscene? Are you going to pick it up? Are you not going to pick it up? Are you not into anime shit? Do you got words for that? Olmexai? Asshole?
Shit opinions.
Let's call him an asshole. Shouldn't be calling people in the community asshole. He'll be able to handle it. Other people, I'll be nicer. I love Jeremy. Jeremy's a great guy. Favoritism. I'm fucking this up. There's gonna be a revolt in the Discord. They're gonna start flipping cars. Yeah. Are you not gonna pick this up? And I had another question. I lost it because I called someone an asshole. And yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about with One Piece. Also, what anime games have you picked up that you liked? Which ones have been good? Which ones have been bad? And yeah, on to the next video, assholes, all of you. You jizzle assholes. That's not. I don't like. I'm never gonna say that again.
Yeah, that's awful.
Cyberpunk 2077, creating Cyberpunk, official PlayStation inside look. This is essentially CD Projekt Red kind of talking about what's going on with Cyberpunk as of right now. We're both very stoked for this game.
Not at all.
Yeah. Our most viewed video on this channel is Cyberpunk. I think it hit like 60,000 views, which is amazing. 60,000 people have seen that video.
It's way beyond our normal numbers.
Yeah, it's like fucking most of our views. So yeah, we've been very much anticipating this, but we also both respect that it'll be done when it's done, and we hope they maintain that and just release something that is amazing. And yeah, we're really excited. So this is pretty much them checking up with us to let us know where things are at. Anything you want to say?
No, because I don't even know what we're watching, so let's just do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
This was probably the most stressful E3 of my life, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't deal with the pressure. I was actually a shadow of myself at this E3.
Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red's first deviation from the Witcher universe, is an action-oriented, narrative-driven, open-world RPG.
It could deal with the pressure. Everyone's watching you.
The game was
pressure's up
announced
with
in
this one for
2012 and officially revealed in a teaser trailer in 2013. But after that, there was
Long time ago.
nothing.
After the teaser, we kind of went dormant. There was silence for 4 or 5 years, which for me and for my community team was very hard because, you know, people were very excited about the game.
When we first announced the Cyberpunk, we had a certain vision of where we want to take it.
The main difference between a pen and paper RPG and the PC game still to this date is that ultimately, while video games are nicer to look at, the freedom that you have in a pen and paper RPG is something that we have yet to achieve in any game, I would say. We can't just take what is the source material and just, alright, we'll make a video game around it, but we have to be smart about it.
Being smart takes time and experimentation. Over the last 5 years, the Cyberpunk development team has been crafting an experience that they hope exceeds the expectations of fans of both the original franchise and of CD Projekt's previous output.
The reason why you can't really go out and just show everything is because video game development is such an iterative process, right? What we have now might not be there tomorrow. So we've had ideas that have died over the years, then they have been resurrected, then they died again, and now they're back.
Cyberpunk 2077 isn't only set 50 years after the source material, but it also takes place in a parallel timeline. This gave the team the freedom to create a game that respected and referenced the source material, but also suited the shift to the video game medium.
That's smart.
For example, it was vital that the player's character, V, be fully customizable. This was a real shift for a company associated with an incredibly iconic character like Geralt.
For us, it's important to give players this freedom
again.
to allow them to play themselves in our world and really immerse themselves. That is also part why we have the first-person perspective, right? Because you don't play as someone else, but you play as I.
Got a window on the left, go!
The move to first person is essential to convey the scale and verticality of Night City, the game's sprawling, neon-soaked hub. But this change in perspective, combined with a completely new style of navigation, including the ability to drive, brings with it a new set of design challenges.
It's easy to make an open world that when you're on foot, it feels huge. But if you're in a car, it's 10 minutes. One feels like a huge world, the other like a not so huge world. And how do you balance that? How do you create the feeling of vastness? But those are the cool things when you challenge yourself to sort of push forward into new uncharted territory, right? And you try to find new solutions to these problems.
At E3 2018, CD Projekt Red finally revealed the first gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077 to a select audience of media and invited guests.
We were so nervous and anxious to learn what people will say about the game because the hype was unreal.
Yeah, the hype's up.
Soon word spread that it was the must-see game of the show. The team left E3 with over 100 media awards. But for the community of PlayStation gamers who had waited so long to see the game in action, the words of the media weren't enough.
The PlayStation
they had
gamers?
to see it for themselves.
I know. It's just
2 months later, their wish came true when all 48 minutes of the
people
playthrough
on
was
Xbox
made
definitely
public.
don't want this game.
Their overall sentiment was amazing and the reception was great. So it was just very rejuvenating for us to basically see those reactions and we're just like, whew, okay, cool, we got it.
Well done, Lindsay. Well done.
Cyberpunk 2077 may no longer be the mystery it once was, but work on it is far from over. True to the promise made in
I love that
2013,
headset.
it's
So
still
fucking
coming,
cool looking.
when it's ready.
Oh, nice. This is the most hyped I've been on. Like I remember when I was a kid, they'd announce a game coming out in the future, and I was like, "Oh my god, I need that fucking game." It's kind of like when, you know, after Morrowind, like when they said like Oblivion was coming, it was gonna be like the next graphical thing or all that shit. I was just like, "Oh, I need that." Like I haven't felt that way in so long. Like I get excited for games all the time, but I'm buying new games all the time. This is one of those games where I'm just like, that's like the next checkpoint.
All eyes on it. Yeah. I'm trying really hard not to be because I don't want to put myself in that position.
Watching that, I felt myself like getting excited. I was just like, ugh, I want that.
Right. Yeah, no, the whole time watching it, it's really hard to like try to like remind myself that we're supposed to like kind of talk every once in a while when we're doing that, you know, because I'm just like,
it's hard.
I'm just engrossed in what I'm watching. So, yeah, I don't even know what I can say that we haven't said a million times on this. Really, I mean, it looks amazing. I can't wait to see where they take it. And I don't need them to show me anymore. They've given literally, the taste they gave us was perfect, and all they're doing now is just like talking about it every once in a while, which is really smart. Keeps it out there, keeps it in our heads and whatnot.
It also lets us know that they know we're waiting.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have someone every once in a while go like at the restaurant, like, "Oh, your food's coming," like something like that. It's like
exactly like that. And then they've already said they're going to be at E3, so
they're going to show something.
They'll show something. So look forward to it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm so stoked for that. Yeah, that just reaffirmed things for me. Really fucking excited. I can't make words right now. Every time I see it, I'm just like, that game is going to be so good. Just revisiting it again, though, because we haven't watched any videos on it in a while. Just seeing it again and all the movements and animations was almost like new again. I was like looking at when she was shooting the gun and just all the parts moving on and stuff. I was like, oh, God, they put a lot of work into those details. But then they're talking about, like, you know, over 5 years or whatever, they had ideas, they threw them out, they brought them back later. Like, 5 years is a long time to fucking, in that time span, to be bringing up ideas. And it's cool that they're even allowing themselves to bring back ideas. 'Cause sometimes in production, you get to a certain point where things are established already and you can't go back and bring stuff back into it. You're too far into making character models, making, you know, where people can walk and where the AI is going to interact with these things and stuff. To introduce something, you'd have to redo a bunch of shit.
Right.
So for them to do that just tells me, and them saying it's coming when it's done, just tells me that you know, if they can make something work and it's worth it, they'll do it. They'll put the work into it. And that kind of shit is going to sell the game. The aesthetics cool. Other games have cyberpunk aesthetics. Not as cool and good looking as that.
100%.
Other games have it. It's the work and dedication and the fucking the backing of the fans of CD Projekt Red that's going to make that game great. It's just that pedigree of excellence is going to be in that game.
100%.
And I'm overhyping it. That's what they were worried about. I'm the one who's fucking making that awful for them. But, I really believe that.
Let's be clear, though. You have a difference in mentality when it comes to companies. You have the essentially assembly line style companies like your EAs, your Activisions, stuff like that, that are making a product, minimum investment, maximum profit, right?
Yeah.
Which it has its place, but
100%.
It's harder to appreciate when you have companies who spend the time in the details, like your CG Project Reds, or I would argue most indie developers in that regard, because they're putting passion into it. Stardew Valley is another great example of that. It shows, and the people playing it feel that care when they're playing that game. When I played Stardew Valley for the first time, as an example. As someone who likes Animal Crossing and likes Harvest Moon and stuff like that, I played that and I was like, this guy also likes this stuff, and he wanted that to be clear. And,
passion,
and it's great. So I feel like we're gonna get that level of passion. So
I feel the same way too, because I'm like you, super into cyberpunk as a genre, that dystopian future, augments all that shit. And so whenever I see a futuristic game come out, I'm not buying I'm hoping on the promise of that genre, but I still have to be mindful because they're still developing a game. So like the Deus Ex series, the newer ones, the 2 newest ones, I really like them. I think the second one's really fucking good and improves in every way over the first one. But even watching those games before they came out, I can still tell what I'm getting into. I'm like, those are going to be, typical first person, kind of like linear, but pathways you can choose based first person shooters with stealth mechanics, and they were 100%. I'm looking at that though, and I'm like, that there's work put into that I am not seeing in most games.
Yeah.
So throw the genre out the window. If I see that kind of work in any game, it's gonna get my attention. But now it's in a genre that I love by a company that I love, and I'm just like, it's very low odds that game will be even just okay.
Yeah.
And if it is, it'll be slightly disappointing, but if it's a good game, it's a good game. But I have really sneaking suspicion, really, really hard sneaking suspicion that game is going to be fucking excellent.
Yeah.
Just because of that passion that you were kind of talking about. You can see that they give a fuck, like completely. Even hearing them talk about how they were kind of getting tired and fatigued from development, and then they were also worried going into E3, and then the reception they got, they're like, oh, okay, we're good.
Look what happened to Corey when he was releasing God of War.
Oh, Corey Barlog, yeah.
Yeah, he was a nervous wreck. He'd been just staring at making this game for years, and then the reviews came out, and he broke down.
Well, and I'm not even remotely even on this scale at all, and I actually am kind of the worst example because I don't care too much, but it does matter. When you create something, and I create a lot of things, and you put it out there, and people tell you what they think of it, it's always awesome to hear good things, but you always release something going, I probably could have done this a little better, I could have changed that. You're always fucking looking at it in ways that you could have done something different. Someone else is just getting it and looking at it, and they're like, oh yeah, but you're like, you were there for that whole process. And I can't even imagine working on something for fucking like 5-6 years and releasing that and just going like, I don't know what the hell they're gonna think, especially when you're making it for them. Like I have the luxury of not making things for people, but it's still there's something. So I can't imagine that on a bigger scale of putting something out for millions and millions of people, having to make it financially viable. I mean, it's not even just your art that's being viewed, but it's also, you got to make money too on this. There's so much pressure to that. And then, like you were saying with Corey Barlog, like that, there's risks they took with that game. There's risks they're taking with this game.
Yeah.
And so on release, will it work? Will it not? I mean, imagine all this hype. Everyone's stoked about Cyberpunk. They're feeling good about it now. They release it and it sucks somehow.
Yeah, it'd be devastating.
That'd be devastating.
Yeah.
That's fucking 6 or 7 years of their goddamn life for nothing.
Yeah.
That's fucking pressure. That's insane.
It's a lot of pressure. I honestly don't see that happening.
I don't either.
Because
I want to be clear.
I
think this game's gonna be
they
amazing.
have a track record of getting better and better with their games. So
Every single one of their games has gotten better.
And this time, obviously the budget has increased. The workload is, they've hired a crap ton of people, to work on this project. So, and as long as they would keep the mentality of releasing a finished game, I don't think we're going to get a subpar game.
No.
So.
Should probably cut this short though. We probably sit here and talk about this all fucking day. I'm sure people watching probably would like to hear that, but we got 2 other things we got to watch, and you got to get it on a plane. So let us know in the comments. What do you think about creating Cyberpunk official PlayStation inside look? Is this game only was this game only exciting for PlayStation fans? As they said in the fucking trailer, I heard that, I'm like, I get why they did it, but I was like, that was kind of a weird way to put that. Excited for Cyberpunk? Are you going to pick it up? When do you think it's going to come out? This year, next year?
Man, I don't know.
I think safe money's this year, but I feel next year. Because the only evidence we have so far is that that they didn't say this, but the Polish government, who gave them $9 million, wanted them to release it in 2019. That's my only hint. That's what I'm saying. Safe money's there. But I feel like it's coming out next year. But it's going to be shown at E3 this year. So they could reveal and go, I think they're going to talk about release date, though, at E3.
I think so, too. Because the game's looking pretty done.
But if it comes out next year, I think early to maybe second quarter of next year.
Well, yeah, it'd be in the new game release window, which is right after January. I don't get it.
That's the new way.
Yeah.
So you don't know?
I have no thoughts on. I really am kind of stumped on that one.
So you just flip a coin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be the same either way.
Yeah. Like I said, I think safe money is this year, but I don't feel like it's going to happen this year. I think it'd be early next year to second quarter. Also, let me in the comments. When do you think it's going to release? I know almost every single person I've talked to so far thinks it's going to be 2020. Yeah, I actually don't think I've talked to anybody who thinks it's come out this year. So, but I think people are really riding that idea that they keep saying it's going to be done when it's done. Mm-hmm. So, but it's definitely coming out at the very latest next year because it looks pretty done, and they've been working on it for this long.
Yeah, it's a long time.
They've worked on this game for a long time. It's got to be ready. So, yeah, and let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077. Mm-hmm. Got anything else to say?
Nope.
All right. Next video is going to be a quick one. Warframe, game me and you have not been playing recently. We really should be hopping back into it, though, because they've added a lot. Just, the amount of games we play, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I'm already playing MMO right now.
Yep. Well, that's my thing. I'm playing a lot of JRPGs. I'm like, I can't invest a lot of time in multiple things because then I just forget about one and I feel incomplete in my life. So we're going to catch up with Warframe. There is a new Warframe coming out, Hyldrin, which I've seen pictures of. It's a very buff lady.
Thick.
Very thick lady. I'm not a huge fan on her design. Not because she's thick. I just think it's like the helmet is kind of like meh.
Yeah, I have to
kind of meh.
I have to get a better look, but
I think the feet are cool.
I think
that's a weird
I think
thing
it's
to say.
mostly in the details that's making it feel kind of meh. Because I don't care about the fucking Rhino's huge. Yeah. So,
well, I didn't care about the huge aspect. I'm just saying like her design is kind of
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like you look at like Octavia or whatever the hell. That's her name, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. She had her own fucking thing going on. You look at her and you're like, that's Octavia. And I feel like when I look at Hyldrin, I see like, that's the big one.
That's the big one.
There's not like anything. We'll watch it and I'll see, see if there's anything distinguishing.
Yeah, I watched it on my phone, so it's probably not the best way to watch it. So.
But I think it's really cool that we are getting like a big like tank character that's a chick.
100%.
Because it's cool. So
if
it changes shit up.
If any game has like a variety of like types of frames and stuff like that, or not frames but character designs, essentially it's Warframe.
100%. Yeah, there's a lot of
so many. So, yeah,
and they're gonna keep doing it, and
they're always gonna try to make it different than the other ones they have. So leads to
at some point you're gonna get something that you probably could have thought up because they're gonna have to go there at some point.
For sure.
Yeah.
So and they're really good about that. I think that obviously the main focus there is. A lot of times you look at a frame and you're like, bam, that's who that is. And it's because of the details there. And I'm not feeling that here.
I mean, I felt kind of similar with like Atlas, even though I love Atlas as a Warframe.
Looking.
But he's very plain. Looks like he's straight out of Mortal Kombat. Because he's got the little fucking ninja little skirt on and the square helmet. So it's not picking on her and her look. There's just some... Like you said, you make so many Warframes, some are going to look cooler than other ones.
For sure.
And I like that. I don't want them all to look like the same and completely badass. I like that.
100%.
Even, oh God, the Trapper guy that I like.
Valbin?
Yeah, he's weird looking. He's not like badass looking. He's just weird looking.
He's very weird looking.
Yeah, he's kind of like, looks like a little tinkerer dude, which is kind of cool. I like that there's different looks and stuff. So we should watch this.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, and go. Space Mom, tell us.
Come on, Mother.
Like a battery, her defensive and offensive utility is unparalleled.
The gun she's holding in the picture's cool, though.
The domina of armament.
I like the back piece.
Balefire launches devastating, chargeable bolts of fire. The longer the charge, the more deadly the result. But as with all of her abilities, at the sacrifice of her shields. Shield pillage
That's a big shield.
emits a thieving wave of energy that strips shields and armor from nearby enemies. Upon its return, Hyldrin is granted shields based on the amount stolen. Toggle this ability to instantly return any collected shields in the heat of battle. Haven redirects Hyldrin's shields onto her allies, offering additional protection that also decreases shield recharge time. Any enemies who veer too close will suffer damage, more so if overshields are present. It's fight and flight, Tenno. Aegis Storm activates Hyldrin's thrusters, allowing her to hover above her enemies, suspending enemies caught in the wake below, damaging them over time. Paired with the destructive effects of Balefire, she becomes an airborne menace. In the sky or on the ground, Hyldrin fills her victims full
That's
of
like
dread.
Ghostbusters gun. I think it's dope looking. I think it's kind of neat that she's a tank and a support character.
I would say she's very utility.
Yeah,
I would say, but yeah,
very
definitely
active.
tanky though.
Active to player too. You got to pay attention to things, which
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
kind of remind me of an MMO.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think the game's really good about is you have your more simple tanks where you just turn on an ability and forget about it, and then you have stuff like this where you're playing the balancing act, and there's players for each type. Sometimes I just want to play a frame and like zone out and not think about it. Other times
That's
I wanna,
my Rhino
I wanna
and
get
Frost
in there,
go-to,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So I play Nyx all the time. It's mostly just a spam chaos.
Yeah.
It's just convenient. It always works. It's always useful. So
I made Zephyr kind of tanky too, which was weird. I could take a lot of hits with them.
My oh no, lost his name.
It's been a while.
Squid Boy.
Hydroid.
Hydroid. My Hydroid was very tanky for a caster. So
Chisel.
yeah, so to get back on this character though, I think I found out. I think I know why I don't like the design. There's too much empty space on the armor here.
Yeah.
And it looks boring
Yeah, I agree.
because the back looks great.
Well, that's what I was saying. When I saw the back, I was like, oh, that back piece is cool
Yeah,
looking.
well, even the shoulders and arms looked good.
Yeah, it would be
the
cool if there's
chest
more
or
things
stomach,
going on
I
in
mean.
the body area.
Yeah, it's really boring. It's plain.
It looks like a suit. Like
Yeah.
they just like got like a tight suit on.
Nitpicking,
Yeah.
but
Well, the design. It's a new.
the character looks like it plays great though.
Yeah. No, they.
Yeah.
No. It looked really. Or she looked really fun to play. So.
100%.
I thought all the moves were interesting. I like that they're, like you were saying, there's some Warframes that are just kind of like passive. They got really straightforward moves, and other ones that are more complex. And I like having that variety because sometimes, like you were saying, I like to just passively play, and sometimes I like to play something that's a little more involved. And sometimes you play harder missions where you got to actually start thinking about your moves more and less about just spamming fucking the button, killing things while talking to your friends, which is 85% of my
That's the grind part.
which is
is
fun.
grinding.
I love it. I don't want to change that. So it is one of those games where I could just sit there and mindlessly play and accomplish things constantly.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the reasons why I'm not playing right now is because I'm playing other games where I got to do that. So, and Warframe's a game I always come back to, although I owe them a lot of money. Because I haven't been on in a while.
Whatever.
I always give DE
Like,
money.
Sure, but you're acting like you have a contract with them.
You pay Final Fantasy 14 monthly. I should be paying.
I have to.
And I have to pay fucking DE monthly. I owe them money. Let us know in the comments what you think about Hyldrin. That's how you say her name?
Sure.
Hyldrin. What do you think about tanks? What do you think about her design? What do you like? What don't you like? Do you love it all? Do you hate it all? What do you think about another tank being added? What do you think about her moves? What do you think about the being more active in your support role and also keeping your shields up? And are you excited? And should we be playing Warframe? Are you going to tell me in the comments, you should be playing this? Are you playing it? I'm not playing it right now, and I'm sorry. I don't want to play it. I promise, and I will soon. Very excited to play it again. It just sucks because every time we watch something, I'm like, oh, yeah, I love Warframe.
Yeah,
People are
cool.
like, have you played it yet? I'm like, or the new stuff? I'm like,
No.
and it fucking sucks because I should just fucking do it, but I literally have like 5 games right now I want to play. It
It's
sucks.
not like you can just casually do it. You're gonna turn it on, and then you're gonna have to spend weeks.
Yeah.
playing catch
I
up.
can't play Warframe just one day and be like, oh, it's fun. Like I'm like, oh, I'm back in now.
Yeah.
So it has to be like a calculated effort, and it's really just it's so stressful in my life right now. 24/7. I owe DE money too. I feel like I'm in debt. All right, last video.
Yep.
Moving over. 7 ways Warhammer Chaosbane appeals to Diablo and Warhammer fans. I picked this video because there is a 1-minute video that came out, I think today, for the beta that's coming out soon for this game, and I just found out about the game when I saw that. I watched that video for a split second. I'm like, oh, that's neat. Is there info on this game? And there is. So we're going to watch this video. This video came out 2 weeks ago, so it might be a little old. You might be a fan of Warhammer and going like, what the fuck you watching that shit for? We don't know about this game, so we're going to find out about this game. 7 things, 7 ways that's going to appeal to people. Also worth mentioning real fast that our game of the month is Inquisitor Martyr, which is another Warhammer 40K ARPG. So it's kind of relevant because I'm really enjoying that game. So if they're making another one, I'm interested. So anything you want to say before we watch this?
I like ARPGs.
So do I. I like almost every single one of them. The game can even be subpar, and I'll still probably play it.
Probably.
So,
yeah.
All right, let's do this. All the way back. There we go. Looks like it has a lot more
Hello and
polish.
welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. We are
Than
currently
Inquisitor Martyr.
fighting a massive dragon in Warhammer Chaosbane. I think it's going alright. We've got a high elf mage who's raining down red projectiles. We've got a dwarf slayer who's never been seen before. This is the first time they're being shown in this demo build.
One thing about all the Warhammer games too is, regardless of
they're
their
flying around and chopping at him. Annoyingly, the dwarf is standing
polish,
behind the dragon.
they always have
because
ideas
you
I
can't
don't see in
really
other
what's
games.
going on.
Yeah,
which
but
is
we
really
are
neat.
in the streets of Prague, not to be confused with the European city of the same name. This is Praag. It's a lot less charming than Prague. Fewer coffee houses, more of this kind of bloody dragon thing. But we are playing Chaosbane. I'm going to talk you through some of the new features. I'm going to cut between this level and one of the older levels, just to introduce you to some of the characters, the new mechanics. If you're enjoying this as you go along, like and subscribe. It's that usual deal. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and I'll do my very best to answer them. But for the time being, let's go on a quick tour of Chaosbane. As you can see, it's Warhammer meets Diablo 3, which is actually something the team isn't ashamed of. Like, they're huge fans of Diablo 3. I was talking to the director of the game, and he played it, Diablo 3 that is, for about 600 hours, I think it was, when you added it up across his different profiles, which is, I don't think I've done anything 600 hours. I don't know if I've been alive 600 hours, but he was very passionate about it. Obviously, they're mixing it in with the Warhammer DNA.
I'm sorry I picked this video.
Just a straight clone. It does do some interesting things. There's this thing called the archetypal move, which I'll explain in a second. But otherwise, you kind of know what to expect. You know, it's a hack and slash. You have all these combination of skills. You can combine them in different ways to create different effects. It all layers up quite nicely. There's a very deep loot system, which I'm actually going to explain at the end of the video, just because I don't want to.
You're going to explain everything at the end of the video at this rate.
Up front. But if you
Yeah, that's where the
wait
video's
around
at.
to
It's
you'll
at the
see
end.
those, and I'll just talk through what you can achieve there with the crafting and the different levels and the skill trees and whatnot. But for the time being, what we're watching here is a dwarf slayer and a high elf charging through the streets, smashing things up. But I am just going to quickly talk you through the dwarf slayer.
What's the 7 thing?
Because he's got some interesting
Has he named
stuff,
one yet?
this archetypal move. So let's go and see that. So this is our first time seeing the Dwarf Slayer, the new character for this particular build, and what we're seeing here is him firing himself around, pulling himself around with little grappling hooks.
I like that.
They're actually his axes that he's throwing out. This is something
already
which is
know I'm
very
gonna buy this game.
specific to Chaosbane.
And it has nothing to do with this
It's
guy.
called
This
an
guy's not selling to me at all.
archetypal move, which is a move that's on the right analog stick. So the whole idea is that, you know, while you're moving with the left and you're aiming, you've got this one skill that you've got 360-degree aim over, very, very specific. Each character has one. I'll show you the Imperial Soldier and the High Elf magic trick in a second, but his is pulling himself around with these hooks, getting
All these
himself into
Warhammer
battle
games are
very,
going to
very quickly, where he
retroactively
can
make
get up in
me
people's
a
grills,
Warhammer
smash them
fan.
up
Yeah,
with the
don't do
axes.
that.
He's very
It's
much
like I'm playing Inquisitor Martyr. I
About
picked up
getting in
Space
there,
Hulk,
smashing them
which
up,
is really janky but
in
kind
and
of
out very
interesting.
fast, sort of smashing
Played
ground
Vermintide,
with
of course.
these fast
And all these games,
axes.
I'm like, this world's really interesting.
Soldier's archetypal move is
really
this
expensive to get into.
shield. Sort of
Well, I've got time for that, luckily.
Attack can be used to stun enemies when they're winding up an attack, so best used on bigger enemies. Of course, you have that full 360-degree turn. It's got 3 charges, and then it'll take a little bit of time to kind of rebuild back up afterwards. So the High Elf is all about spells. Obviously, they're the mage character. At the core of them is this sort of raining fire of projectiles, which they have to do to charge up their energy to use their other spells. You have this, a kind of protective dome. You have a fireball, which is very tasty. So this is
video
the
is
High
fucking
Elf's,
misleading.
archetypal
Yeah, I'm having a hard
move
time.
on
Because
the
he
right
says
analog
7
stick.
ways
Basically
it's gonna,
all their
and he's
spells,
putting these
or
little
any
fucking
spell
things
with
at the
a
bottom
kind of
left, but now he's just
projectile
describing
element, can be
everything.
moved with the right analog stick, which I think is actually a probably the best use of it. It's the most radically different feeling character. You know, the other ones have
I do
kind of
like that they're
variations
using
on dodges and shields.
the analog sticks, because that's one thing about Inquisitor Martyr. When I played it on PC, because I owned it on PS4 and PC, and you can play it with the controller on there, so it's not a big deal. But when I was playing mouse and keyboard, it felt traditional, but there's a lot of features in the game that I didn't feel like I was using very much with the mouse and keyboard. Whereas when I used the controller, it felt like the game was built in hopes that it would be on controller, because using the right stick for certain things makes the game flow a lot better.
Is this kind of strange little demonic eye,
but you can also on mouse and keyboard turn off mouse clicking to move and attack, or to move and use WSAD to move your character.
In the final game, you can play 4 players local co-op on PC too, which is slightly rarer for hack and slash, but it's nice to see that supported. They support every version
I'm like making fun of this guy at this point.
4 players, so you can do 2 people on one PC playing online with 2 people on another PC, 3 people on one PC playing online with another 1 person on PC, or 4 people on separate PCs. Like any combination of local and online.
More games need that. I love the idea,
which is quite nice.
Regardless of what you feel like for Call of Duty or whatever, there's a lot of Call of Duties where you could play split screen online, and that was like amazing. If you had a friend over, you could just both play your characters and progress
doing their battling thing
online. So if you can play 3 people with 1 person online with all that shit, that's amazing.
You'll just automatically follow them as they charge you into battle, which is rather psychotic. But it's just better to do
exactly
this
sure
than
I'm looking
to
at right
force
here. It looks like his armor and his weapons and stuff, but I kind of like the way it looks.
Well,
it's a much better UI.
While you're in there fucking around with that shit, you're following the team still.
I haven't played Warhammer for a very long time. I had an army of Dark Elves when I was about 10.
I'm trying to keep up with him.
Yeah, I'm glad you are. I'm just looking at the game.
He's really hard to listen to.
About it. What's interesting about this is that obviously Warhammer at the moment
ironic, coming from a guy who has one tone of voice most time.
New rule set if you aren't familiar with it, but Chaosbane is based in the Warhammer Fantasy Battle, which is the kind of pre-2015 version of it. So it's the models, the fiction, the design that you'll be familiar with from that rule set, simply because the team are a big fan of this particular take on the world and wanted to do this justice. In the timeline, it's set after the Great War against Chaos. Spoiler alert, the good guys kind of won. Now it's set directly afterwards, and you've got a band of heroes going back to the capital of the Empire, and there are still remnant Chaos forces taking a pop at them. This stage is actually taken slightly into the game. This is in Prague. It's a town, it's above ground. You'll see that there's a sewer level I'll show you in a second. Each chapter of the game is kind of defined by a different Chaos god. In this particular one, we're fighting the forces of Khorne, who is the kind of god of blood and war and general unpleasant things, which is why it's all red. The enemies have got this reddish glow. There's a lot of kind of blood splatter everywhere, all these red plants. You'll see in the sewers, it's all kind of pestilence and green, so it's got a different vibe. This is Nuln, specifically the sewers underneath the city. They're sort of, it's a human city, but these are vast structures built by dwarves.
Are they walking on fucking cobblestone?
Grand, and you'll see these
buildings around them?
The place. So as I mentioned,
what time of day is it?
The game is defined by a different god of chaos. This is Nurgle, so it's all pestilence.
Do they wear cotton?
Nurglings and weird green pustules and poison and nasty pools of gas and swarming you with diseased and plagued and horrible things. Exactly the kind of stuff you want to incinerate and burn off the face of the earth. In motion, it didn't feel massively different to the blood chaotic forces we were playing against later. You know, the look of the game is obviously very different. We were told that there are apparently 70 enemy types.
That's all he uses.
All taken from the Warhammer
Looks pretty
universe.
Good,
based on the miniatures. It felt very similar rhythm to me. I didn't see a massive departure in terms of kind of attack styles or kind of challenges to deal with, but you know, I'm assuming this is pretty early on because they didn't want to bombard us with anything too difficult. Getting puked on by a little demon down there. Very good.
Very good.
So you'll also
That's
see
one of the ways Warhammer Chaosbane appeals to Diablo.
3 orbs above each of their meters. This is their bloodlust meter, which fills by collecting little kind of portions of blood which are dropped. I'll circle one on the screen at the moment so you can see what I'm talking about. As you collect blood, you fill up each of these orbs, and basically each one represents a tier of attacks. So when you've got 1 orb, you can do your level 1 tier. When you've got 2, you can do your level 2, and so on and so forth. So it's all about, do you want to build up to your mega attacks on 3, or do you want to hold back?
Supposed to be like professional.
In the course of these demos, it really did take us the length of an entire level to collect enough blood to fill all the way up.
I thought
to 3.
that.
Blood isn't shared, so there is a focus on, you know, who's actually going to take it. You know, do you split it between you, you know, potentially up to a party of 4, or do you want to kind of focus one player on it? So
I want to play co-op in every game ever.
And we're about to unleash our bloodlust
Don't even
attacks
ask.
here. We've both got 2 levels of orbs. For the high elf, it's this
Whoa.
rather impressive
That's kinda cool
sword
looking.
spinning thing. Look at that, and just churn them up. Will it blend? Will a Nurglings blend? Of course they will. Anything will blend if you put your mind to it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can see the Imperial soldier's got a big shield that he's barging everyone to death with. That's the mage doing his bloodlust attack with his spinning swords of death.
Whoa.
I didn't mean to pause it.
That's going to be really hard for me to edit.
I was seeing how much time was left.
You just made my whole editing process so much harder. Let's just end it there because I'm fucking done watching this. You good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not even going to edit that. Fuck it. That's where the video ended. If you hear it still going, we're not watching it. It's over.
Yeah.
So, what do we think about the game?
I was gonna. So here's what I want to say. Because I have to give credit to the gameplay. Suffering through that video, I still am curious to play the game.
I was still interested in the video, watching it visually.
So it looks cool. It looks like they took obviously elements from the genre, but have added their spin to it, as they tend to do with every one of the Warhammer games. You brought that up earlier. It's 100% true. I mean, look at what they did for Left 4 Dead with Vermintide. So
yeah, they made Left 4 Dead obsolete.
Yeah, and so they've added some stuff here. Obviously, without getting your hands on it and trying it out, it's gonna be hard to say if it's like amazing or not. But I'm glad they are experimental when it comes to these games. The one thing I heard him say out of all the fucking rambling was the blood is something you have to decide who's picking it up. I tend to not like those kind of systems because you get that one person who isn't thinking about the team and is just going to start picking everything up. So I am worried about that part. But otherwise, it looked really good.
Yeah, but you're not playing with randoms.
I'm not.
Game,
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
That is a concern in games for me because there's.
You're safe because you're not going to be in that situation.
But yeah, otherwise, it looks cool. I am looking forward to seeing it presented differently in the future.
Yeah, dude. I'm fucking tired. Watching that guy. I was getting ready to take a nap. But I was too interested watching the video. No, it looks cool. A couple things, because I've played Inquisitor Martyr quite a bit. It's nice to see that because it's a newer game, it's got more polish to it. It has better graphics. It seems like a lot of the systems they've taken from that game have translated over. So that's cool to see. I know it's going to have some cool systems in it because literally every Warhammer game I've played so far has had something in it that I'm like, other games in the genre aren't doing that. So they're always thinking about mechanics, and that's really cool. I like the aesthetic. I like that it is an RPG. I like that a lot. I like loot. I like skills. I like fucking cutting through crowds of people and getting experience. That's like drugs for me. But so yeah, I'm definitely picking this up. But the moves look cool. I like the animations. I like the way they look. I like the aesthetic. The blade spinning on the guy and him shooting fire and stuff like that was all really neat. It'll be cool to kind of explore this universe in a way that's not just Vermintide, even though those are different events. There is something about Warhammer that is so different than other games in sci-fi and in fantasy that is really interesting. Really, really, really love that. First off, almost all Warhammer games have multiplayer and co-op, which is really cool. They obviously care about the community of people playing together because it's a smaller community. compared to like, obviously huge ones. I'm sure there's a lot of Warhammer fans out there, obviously. But I also love the emphasis on being able to play same screen co-op and online co-op and being able to do both together. That's not just awesome for this game. That's something every game needs to fucking do if they can, obviously. If the game's too good looking and you can't do co-op, or if, it's already hard enough to get 2 people on screen at once, don't push and try and make 4 screens and lower the graphics and shit. You get what I'm saying. It's very cool that they're able to do that. They're very smart. Some of those ideas that I was kind of talking about, they always come up with. So that's really exciting because it really, if you want to play with friends, they just made it an easier way to do that.
Yep.
In every scenario. Plus, I always love the idea of being able to play a game that's deep, and if somebody doesn't have a copy of it, if they want to come over and play with you, you can have that experience with them still. Just like I said, options. It's good to have. Overall, I'm really excited for this. The beta's coming soon. I'm gonna try and hop in it if I can. I don't know if it's open or not though. If it's closed, I'll see what I can do.
If he said I didn't hear him.
Yeah, well, I stopped listening to him a while ago. I just every once in a while I'd hear him talk about like something that had nothing to do with anything, and then him try and crack a joke, and I'm like, you know what? Comedy's just not for everyone.
Yeah.
Not everybody's funny. That's fine. Maybe he's good at math. I'm not. It's possible. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not good at it much. I don't know. That circle lasted too long too. I'm gonna put a circle around this. Ding. And then the video continued. I'm like, that was way too long, motherfucker. Just go and just be done with it. We get it. We saw it. Anyway, I'm excited for this game. I'm really excited for this game. I'm gonna buy it for sure, just because this is right up my alley, and this is a game that I'd really want to play with you and all the usuals. Maybe I'll be picking this for my next game of the month
in a year.
I'm sure it'll be out by then, and I will have played it so much. But maybe I can throw it on the list, and maybe I'll get a lucky roll too, because our list is like multiple years worth of games. So
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say on it? Chaosbane, that's the name of it.
Yeah. Looks cool.
Looks cool.
I'm sorry if my energy's really low. That was really hard.
My energy's well, yeah, mentally I'm just like ready to go curl up in a ball and die somewhere. But drank a lot of coffee, so I'm feeling really good.
I'm gonna have to make some more because I'm starting to crash.
I don't know if I need any more. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about Warhammer Chaosbane? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Do you like ARPGs? Do you not like ARPGs? You're like, I don't like looking down at people. I'm no god. Or you're like, I am a god. I control all, and that's why I like ARPGs. Do you like loot? I'm sure you do. There's people out there that don't really like games like that, though. Like, I've talked to people who don't like stuff that's deeper. Yeah, it's really interesting because that's like one of my favorite things ever.
My last job, one of the guys I worked with fell out of gaming because they started becoming too much like movies and too involved.
Too RPG-like.
And he just wanted to play a game.
Because RPGs definitely kind of seeped into all games.
Everything.
Yeah. And you can blame a lot of that on Call of Duty.
That's what my favorite genre is. So
yeah.
I don't mind.
Oh, it just makes games deeper. So yeah, I like having choice, or at least perceived choice.
Yep.
Yeah, some people just want to play like Ratchet and Clank though, and
Which
just
is
like
cool.
hit shit. Yeah.
And I'm glad people still make those games. Not as much anymore, unfortunately.
It's always harder for me to play those games just because I enjoy it for a split second, but like I really like to like have that fucking that level going up.
Mario still exists.
Yeah,
and it's a solid ass game.
And they're great.
So.
Fantastic. Yeah. Chaosbane. Let me know everything you think about when it comes to Chaosbane and everything we've talked about. We've talked about a lot in this episode and pretty decent amount of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're gonna be gone for a week.
Yep.
We'll see if you're on Tasty Tuesday or not. If you're not, it's understandable.
I have no idea what my agenda is. I just know I'm flying, and hanging out for a few days and then coming back.
Yeah. So if you don't see him Tuesday, that's where he's at. The very ambiguous mystery.
I don't want to say yet, just in case.
Someone's going to be waiting for you there. That's going to do it for this episode of TastyCast, episode 90. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. Hit the notification button to when I go live. If you want to watch me on YouTube, you can do that right here, because when I stream, I dual stream, so you can watch me here. You're like, fuck Twitch. You're over on Twitch, and you're like, fuck YouTube. I don't even know how the hell you found me in the first place, but you can watch me there as well. Man. Yeah. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you'd prefer to listen to us, you're not really into the video thing, or you don't want to waste data having fucking audio with video playing over to the side somewhere, we got audio options. If you're listening to us, check us out on YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming. We're actually getting more and more people listening, which is really cool to see. The number seems to be growing like every other week, so by a little bit.
Nice.
So it's very cool. At first I was like, I don't know if I want to send people over. I'd rather them watch the episodes. But I was like, I want people to be able to listen or watch no matter what. And also it's stupid for me not to give that option. So it's cool to see that
you
growing.
feel that way because you produce it as video content.
I do, yeah.
But obviously the draw to the content isn't necessarily the video.
Yeah.
So,
our faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're only missing out on the video, like the videos we watch.
watch
but
stuff, yeah.
I mean, it is a conversation show. So not to sit here and talk and dissect fucking what we're doing here. Yeah, so listen to us. And we have Discord. You can talk to us. Link down below. I've just reorganized the Discord a little bit, cleaned it up a little. Well, it wasn't not clean, but I added one more category for community-based stuff. I added a looking for group section. So if you're in the Discord and you want to play games with people, you don't have to, go to different channels and ask people to play games with you there. You can go to the LFG. That's what it's meant for. Tell people what game you're playing, when you're playing it, and see if anyone wants to play with you, or, just throw it out there. I'm going to be playing this if anyone wants to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I think I moved the Cyberpunk section up to the top, too, because I know people keep coming in, and they're like, I'll see you in Cyberpunk. And they go straight in there. I'm like, all right. So now it's at the top. So it's easy to find on that very long list. Yeah, my name's Seth.
Chevy.
Until the next episode, which will be Tasty Tuesday. Also thinking about doing a Tasty Flicks again soon, so let me know what movie-related stuff you'd like me to talk about. Have a good weekend, guys, and take it easy.